up here again. I love seeing that. Welcome everyone to Beyond the Veil. Man, we have had an eventful past couple of days up here on YouTube. I think we came back with a bang, so to speak. But anyway, welcome you guys. I'm excited to have another night with you guys, enjoying fellowship, studying, learning, reading, mind-blowing, etc., etc. I think that this should be a good one for you guys. Okay, tonight we're going to speak on one of my favorite topics in the Bible. And if you've been following me for longer than like a year and a half, 2 years, you know that my favorite topic is the Titans of the Deep and Behemoth and Leviathans. Okay, and also ancient history as far as like what's been buried and what happened in the New World Reset and how the maps were flipped and everything like that, and how I believe that a lot of the Bible took place in the Americas, and that I believe that California is the promised land, which is actually very key to a lot of things that we're actually going to be talking about tonight as well. Okay, also I talked with you guys, let's see, I think it was last night we talked about it, nope, it might have been the live before last, part 2 of that series we did, where I talked about where I believe the true location of the Garden of Eden is, which would be Greenland, okay, which Donald Trump's obsession is with right now, that has the waters held over it, as talked about in Enoch as well, where after Yahuwah showed Enoch the Garden of Eden, which he had 2 cherubims there guarding it until that day, so that it could be revealed to Enoch. After it was shown to Enoch, it says that the Father brought the floods over Eden, and it says that he held the waters over the Garden of Eden. All right, which is actually very important, because that's the same thing he did with the expanse, when the breath of God froze over the expanse also, which the firmament rests on, which is the Antarctica ice wall, which is very key, especially for people in Africa. They're like, oh, Africa was the Garden of Eden. Well, Africa is not covered by waters that are held over top like ice. Everybody's like, well, it's Florida. Well, Florida's not covered with ice, with waters held over top of Florida either. Everybody's like, well, it's here. Nope. There's actually one place that's actually one of the biggest continents in the ocean, all right, that is completely covered with ice, and it's called Greenland for a reason. And it's also one of the least inhabited of these big continents in the world too, for a reason as well. And sonography and things like that, where they're allowed to see below water and below ice, they have actually revealed that there's more life, like big stuff under there, okay, life beneath there than anywhere else, okay, thriving. So very important. However, we're not going to be talking about that tonight, or any of the things really we've been talking about the last couple of nights, because I think I covered all of that in the biggest depth that we possibly could, being that each video is about 3 hours long. All right, tonight shouldn't be that long, but really I don't know. I never really know. We have a whole lot of scriptures to go through, and we have a whole lot of stuff to go through, but I promise you, if you stick through this one, you will enjoy it. Okay, you will get a lot from it. And I say that because I know that Melissa and Kelly, I don't think Chad was up here during that point, but some of the guys I see up here right now, Miss M was. One of my favorite decodes I did for a very, very long time was my Hoover Dam decode series I did on Facebook. However, Facebook has since deleted those videos, along with about 100 other videos on Facebook that they have deleted due to their new policy, which is really sad to me, because that's like countless hours that are just completely flushed down the toilet and I can't get back. All right. My last Hoover Dam decode, though, I broke down a whole lot of things, and it started with me actually going to the Hoover Dam, seeing a lot of the Hoover Dam, and revealing a lot of things that I saw and experienced and realized at the Hoover Dam. All right, I did a whole lot of digging in history and a whole lot of digging in a lot of other stuff for that. Yeah, eventually the dam is gonna blow. All right. Those angels, absolutely, is crazy. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight as well. All right. Tonight, though, I'm going to take that Hoover Dam decode I did. I love you too, Miss Kim. Tonight, I'm going to take that Hoover Dam decode we did about 2 years ago, and I'm going to put it on steroids, so to speak. And it's really going to be wild. Really wild ride. All right. So I'll say this also. As you're coming in here, I love seeing a good chunk of people up here already. This is awesome. Wow. As you're coming in, I always encourage you guys, just because there's a lot of people looking fellowship today in today's world, and like people of like-minded mindsets that are close by and maybe in the same state, maybe in the same neighborhood, things like that. Some people are like, I'm not going to share my location up here. Your location is shared regardless, through phones, through computers, through all that stuff. All right. Even as you sleep, your TV has cameras that see things that are going on in your house. All right. I tell people as they're coming in, number one, hit the like button. It gets a jump. Wow. Thank you, Miss Kim. I really appreciate that. Wowza. That's awesome. I will say this though. If you are going to give to the channel, I don't even think I shared it this time because I don't make these videos for me. But usually I'll like put my Venmo and my PayPal down at the bottom, and it'll kind of help you guys have a place where you can give it where YouTube's not taking like 30% and things like that. But it's really okay. I really appreciate what you did, Miss Kim. That's very awesome. But anyway, no, this ministry is not for money at all. This ministry is for what I've been doing lately, waking up people all over the place. Okay, so as you're coming in, if you want to just hit the like button, that's good enough, really, true. Yeah, you're gonna love this, I promise. So here we go. I can't wait. Really, really big stuff we're gonna talk about tonight. All right, so over the last couple of nights, I have brought up Behemoth and Leviathan. All right. And also in many decodes, I have brought up Titans of the Deep and the destruction that comes during final judgment and all of those things. All right. And it's really fascinating. However, a lot of people are only focused in on Leviathan itself. Okay. Which you need to know. All right. Leviathan itself is one of technically 6 things that you have to worry about. All right. There's also 4 titans of old, 4 big beasts of old, 4 things like you can't even imagine of old that are released also. Those things are to be released on the earth first, on the coastlines. Those 4 creatures, those 4 monsters. All right. And with them is also going to come an army of what I believe is led by, broke up in 12 regiments, 12 regimes. Like, you know how the word says that Satan mimics the Most High, and he does with everything. Okay, and I mean everything, as I've pointed out to you guys. Anything the Most High does, Satan does also, in a dark version, a dark side, so to speak. Okay, for example, Yahusha had 12 disciples whom he named brothers. He said, these are my brothers and this is my mother. And that's because we're considered brothers and sisters of Yahusha and sons of the Most High God. All right. So what Satan has done is, all the way back at the beginning of time, he made his own 12 sons. Okay. 12 titans. Okay. These are your 12 Olympian titans that are mentioned in Greek culture and actually other cultures we're going to bring up tonight as well. Okay. What they are in charge of different groups, different armies. All right. Just like in Greek culture. Okay. However, those 12 Olympian titans, all right, they had to, and this is if you, I encourage you, and I decoded this show, and it's mind-blowing, okay? It's called it's called Blood of Zeus, all right? It's an anime cartoon type thing on Netflix, and boy, does it tell you so much of everything, okay? It had Zeus and Hera, okay? And then their children, and also the what they call bastard children, which were demigods, and if you count the number of them, you get 12, okay, against these big beasts and titans that rise up out of the ocean, okay, to plague and come up on the coast and try to devour mankind. And the titans fight against these beasts coming out of the oceans, okay, because really those beasts, those titans, were part of the chaotic order in which were released on the land and where those things would come up technically after the Olympian Titans. They weren't even coming after people. That's not what it was for. It was really, they were coming for the gods of the earth, okay? Fascinating stuff. So what happened was Zeus created his own army where he has his 12 Olympian gods, his titans, fighting back, okay? And of course, the armies of the earth joined him. All right, so that's pretty cool stuff, a pretty good way to get this going on that stuff, because here's this. Yahusha gives his 12 the power to judge, to bring judgment over the titans and the gods of the earth as well, and also gives them ranks, okay? Big old ranks are mentioned right there in your Bible, of so many people joining them, all right? Fascinating. So all that's kind of tied right in with the Bible. If you want to be specific, okay, those things spun off of the Bible, being that Rome and Greek culture and things like that started popping up more advanced with Nero and all of those afterwards, especially the first form of Apollo, which was Nero, and then all the way to Constantine, all right, which was also worshiping the sun god Apollo. So there's that. And I bring that up because of this. Leviathan and Behemoth, those two, they were created by God the Father to bring judgment on the earth to the kings of the earth. And if you know what I've been telling you lately, kings are the demigods of the earth, okay? They're the ones in which Satan and the fallen angels, the Watchers, entered via the V Society, all right, in which they entered them, okay? Leviathan and Behemoth, they were the Most High Yahuwah's form of judgment on the kings of the earth that he sends on them. However, Leviathan and Behemoth are the very last two to rise up at final judgment. Before they rise up, you have your 4 orders of Titans of the deep, okay, and their legioned armies rising up on the shores of the seas, coming after the kings of the earth who hide themselves in bunkers and cover themselves with rocks for the things that are coming out of the sea and among them, okay? All of that is just a way of chaos, which is actually was created to bring peace. With chaos comes peace after chaos, all right? So, here's this. Let's look tonight into Behemoth and Leviathans, all right? This is a fascinating topic that I promise you so many people have gotten mixed up and told you the wrong things, all right? And tonight it'll make a whole lot more sense to you. I'm really hoping, okay? All right, so let's see where I want to get started tonight, all right? One thing that's been brought up the past couple nights is when I bring up Leviathan, I mentioned the female Leviathan, which is the queen of the south that rises up at judgment, all right? The queen of the south that rises up at judgment, okay? There is a female Leviathan, but tonight I'm going to tell you guys that there are 2 Leviathans. There's a female Leviathan and there's a male Leviathan. There's also a Behemoth, okay? Everybody's like, no, it's not. Just wait. I promise you, I'm going to lay it out in a way in which you can understand very clearly and simply. Okay, first thing we're going to look at is the big elephant in the room, okay? Let's go to Enoch chapter 60, verses 7 through 9. And the translation I'm going to be reading from tonight is R.H. Charles, his translation, which it really doesn't matter with this topic here. Some of them can be a little slippery, not with this topic, but with others, but this one's going to be great. Okay, Enoch, this is first Enoch, not second Enoch, where they write about Metatron, okay? This is first Enoch. First Enoch, chapter 60, 7 through 9 says this. And on that day, 2 monsters will be parted. One monster, a female named Leviathan. It is what it is. It's word for word right there, okay? A female named Leviathan. These 2 are the ones that are parted. Now, keep in mind there's others, okay? And I'm going to bring all those up as well. But according to this text right here, and on that day, 2 monsters will be parted, separated from one another. One monster is a female named Leviathan, to dwell in the abyss of the ocean over the fountains of the water. If you know about the flood story of Noah, okay, everybody wants to talk about the fountains of the deep bursting forth, okay? Well, there's nothing new under the sun. This is why even the Epic of Gilgamesh and the flood waters that came over, also chaos was released on the earth, okay, by the springs of the deep, by the fountains of the deep, in which Leviathan was kept. This is why you also read those stories where it mentioned even the beast rising during that time to bring judgment on the titans of the earth during that time as well. All right? During times of judgment, that's what these things were created for. All right? Okay, awesome. So here's this. On that day, two monsters will be parted. One monster, a female named Leviathan, to dwell in the abyss of the ocean over the fountains of the water. See, when this eclipse happened on April 8th, all right, these four titans that were released into the ocean following the eclipse, one literally 24 hours directly after the eclipse, literally 24 hours directly after the first one was released, the size of Texas. And then 2 weeks later, another, and then a week later, another, and then a couple of days later, midweek, was another four titans, exactly as I told you guys was going to happen, like months and months before, happened down to the dot on the T, on the even the days in which I told you it was going to happen. It was fascinating. It blew my mind, and also yours, okay? And after that happened, I tried to tell you guys, okay, didn't you pay attention to where they came from, okay? On your maps, any of them, you can look at volcano, earthquake maps, you can look at Google Maps, you can look at any maps, even old maps. If you look at the tip, okay, of South America, you will see a giant snakehead that's literally the size of half of the United States, okay? And it's laying there dormant with waters held over it, okay? With snouts that breathe fire, just like the word says. It says that it breathes fire from its snout. That's where all volcanoes are. And the sandwich, that's why I say banana sandwich. Actually, that's what started the banana sandwich saying, was during my stories about the Queen of the South. That's how I started saying banana sandwiches in the first place, was because I talked about the Sandwich Islands, all right? The Sandwich Islands down in Drake's Passage, which means literal dragon's passage, okay? And every one of the snout holes is a volcano down there. And also, there's 6 to 9 .0 earthquakes that have happened there over and over and over and over and over again. You can see the eyes literally closed there as well. You can see the hood, all right, as well. You can see all of it, even the scales going down its back as it disappears into what they don't want you to see in the Pacific Ocean, which I've actually showed you diagrams of its whole full of skeletal body laid all around the earth, okay? It's something that couldn't be denied by people all the way back, even when you guys didn't even know that sonography and all that stuff was a thing, okay? Greek culture even speaks on Jormungandr, which they call the Earth's necklace, because they knew it was an Antarctica ice wall. They also knew there was a giant serpent that surrounded the Earth, okay? They knew it. They knew there was a giant serpent that surrounded the Earth. They called it Jormungandr, and says it rises up against Thor and Loki in Nordic culture, okay? Here's what it is. They knew those things, all right? But if you pay attention, in Nordic culture, here's the story about Jormungandr. Even Jormungandr is the mother of dragons, just like Khaleesi, the mother of dragons. See, Jormungandr is the mother of beasts, the mother of titans, okay? And what she does is this. You ever wondered where the infinity logo comes from, or where the I don't know, the other thing where it's got the snake and it's eating its tail, okay? My mind's going blank on what the name of that is. Well, here's where that comes from. That's actually all the way into Nordic culture, where Jormungandr is eating its own tail, okay? And it eats its own tail because just like the brood of, yeah, that's right. Just like the brood of vipers, all right? Just like the brood of vipers hatch from, they eat their way out of their mother's belly and stuff. They come out from the inside out. They don't come out naturally. It's things like that. Jormungandr, okay, she gives birth to her titans from her mouth, hence the belly of the beast. Okay? Now, here's what happens. If you look down there at that snakehead down at South America, you'll notice here's the snakehead with its tail in its mouth, and there's drag marks all on the ocean floor from where that tail has been pulled out and put back in, pulled out and put back in, pulled out and put back in, pulled out and put back in. Jormungandr culture says this, that Leviathan, Jormungandr, it says when she opens her mouth and releases her tail, she releases a child from her mouth. Now, what's really fascinating is during this eclipse, that is exactly where these titans were released from. Right there by where Jormungandr's mouth is, where those tail lines are, is where those beasts were literally coming out into that part of the ocean and up into the Atlantic. Literally, nowhere else. They came right from there, just like the story says, all right? One at a time, blam, 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 all right? And she puts her tail back in her mouth afterwards. That's why, if you think about how big that thing is, when it pulls the tail out and picks it up and puts it back down, would it not push a big old wave also toward Africa, just like it did, and towards South America, just like it did? Absolutely. All right? So, I bring that up because it is. That is Leviathan, the female, that's kept at the seventh part of the earth, as Enoch says. The seventh part is because Jormungandr, Leviathan, is the one that gives earth rest during judgment. It destroys everything and brings back a balance to the earth, and then goes back. But at the very end, she's going to be killed for good and given as food to all the people. Okay? She'll be done for, because there will be no more Satan, dragon, titan of the sea, serpent of the sea. Okay? There'll be none of those. Okay? Because it'll be done away with at the very end in the great and final battle, when Yahuwah himself comes down, the only one that can slay it, and kills that great serpent of the sea. All right? Now, here's this, okay? It was kept at the seventh part, according to Enoch, but Behemoth was kept on the land, which is very important. I'm going to be reading all this for you, and this should blow your mind. All right? But let's finish Enoch first. I'm going to go through it for you again and let you understand that there is a female Leviathan called the mother of dragons, the mother of beasts, that gives birth to them, where she lays over the waters of the deep. She hatches them from her mouth, the belly of the beast. Okay? And on that day, two monsters will be parted. One monster, a female named Leviathan, to dwell in the abyss of the ocean, literally of the ocean, over the fountains of the waters. And the other, a male named Behemoth, who occupies with his breast an invisible desert, okay, whose name is Din Dayan. I want you to remember that we in America, we live in Gads. Think about Godzilla. Godzilla, okay? Godzilla comes from the word Gad, of Freemasonry, their god, okay, the mighty dragon. We live in Gad's den, Gad's house. Godzilla's house. America literally means land of the plumed serpent, the feathered dragon. Okay? We live in Gad's den, which in the word is where Dindan comes from. We literally live in Gad's den, where the Babylonian snake is erected to the heavens, saying, "Don't tread on me, don't crush me, don't kill me," in the wine press of Mystery Babylon the Great. Okay? So, literally, Behemoth is kept in Dindan, okay? Godzilla himself, all right? It says right here, it says, another, a male named Behemoth, who occupies with his breasts an invisible desert, whose name is Dindan. Now, this is fascinating. Not kept in the garden, okay? But he's actually kept in the east of where the elect and righteous dwell. I'm going to ask you guys this. What is east of California, the promised land? And why is it desert? What's east of the promised land where the elect were gathered, aka they were gathered in the promised land, the land of milk and honey, the elect of those days? What's it directly east of the promised land, California? The Hoover Dam, Nevada, Sin City, Las Vegas, everything else you can imagine is east here in America, Gad's Den. All right? Exactly as this says. Okay, so let's keep on going. Where the elect and the righteous dwell, where my grandfather was taken up, the seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Lord of spirits created. Now, who's the father of spirits? Both spirits. The father of the spirits of death and the fathers of the spirits of life. Yahuwah is the father of all spirits, okay? We know that Adam became a life-giving spirit. We know that Satan became a death-giving spirit. And their father is Yahuwah, okay? Adam is the first Adam and the last Adam, Yahusha, okay? Yahusha, according to Corinthians, is the first and last Adam. Everybody's quick to say he's the first and last, and then they give him the title of the Most High as in the Father. No, that's not it. He's the first and last Adam, the first and last Son of God, whom he created in his image, and Adam was alone with the Father at the beginning. That's why he says it's not good for man to be alone, as he was alone with Adam. And Adam named everything that was given life. And all life, even Eve, came from Adam, which means Eve gave birth to the first children, both Cain and Abel, okay? But even Eve came from Adam, so all life came from Adam. This is why Adam itself literally means Yahuwah, Alpha, Elohim, God's blood, Dam, Ruby, Rudy, red blood. God's blood, which was shed on the pole, the stake, or tree for us, his son. Just like my son in there, Braden, is my blood. He's made in my image. He looks like me, okay? He's not me. He's made in my image, okay? And being that he came from me, all the life that comes through him ultimately came from me. Do you see how that works? Okay? Now, the first man whom the Lord of spirits created. Yes, the Father created Adam, set apart in the light, in the sun. Satan was brought forth in the darkness and chaos and wrath. Now, let's keep on going here. And I besought the other angel that he should show me the might of those monsters, and how they were parted on one day, and cast, the one into the abyss of the sea, and the other onto the dry land of the desert. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, there is a female Leviathan and there's a male Behemoth, and those two, there's gonna be more we're gonna talk about. Those two specifically were kept, word for word, those two, until the day of judgment. When judgment's poured out on the land, like in the floods of Noah, they arose, okay? When judgment takes place, they arise. Final judgment, they also have an appointed day, all right? Appointed hour, appointed space, appointed season. Hence the short season, okay? And the great and final battle. All right, so here's this. And you know, there's only one great and final battle that's mentioned in your Bible, and it's at the end of the world during the short season. But like I said all the time here lately, there's a guy, JT, follows JC and Paul, who I love both of them very much. But they teach that everything's already been done, but they don't acknowledge that the short season is when the great and final battle is, when Yahuwah comes and slays Behemoth and Leviathan and the serpent of the sea and the crooked serpent Leviathan, same things. That doesn't happen until now. They're petrified, waiting for now. Okay, so you need to be careful. Just like Mystery Babylon the Great. I know teachers that are teaching Mystery Babylon the Great, but they still teach we're waiting on 1,000 year reign. They hadn't put together that Mystery Babylon's short horn is the short hour, short space, short scroll, short book, short time in which Satan and the 10 kings of old are given power for an hour, a space, a season. Which is why Revelation 18, 19, and 20 are all tied in together. Okay, all right. Let's go on even further, because there is a male Leviathan mentioned also. But don't you know your Bible covers that as well? I don't even have to read from Enoch from this part. What I can do is just read from Isaiah for this part. Are you ready? All right, Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 1. Pay attention to the two Leviathans mentioned, the male and the female Leviathan. Two Leviathans mentioned. Because remember, he created two of everything. He banished two, one of each, for a certain time. left the others. Watch. Isaiah 27:1, the two Leviathans. In that day, the Lord with his sore and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even, meaning also, and along with Leviathan, that crooked serpent. And he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. So you have two Leviathans being slain and one dragon that went into the sea as well, all being slain. Three things. Let's read it again so you'll understand, okay? Because there's a lot of people that don't get this, and it's right here in the, okay? Yes, he's going to slay a male dragon, but he's also going to slay a female dragon, and here it is. In that day, I don't even like reading the Lord. In that day, Yahuwah with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. But you know what else is even better? And I like that word specific. Let's see if that's mentioned anywhere else in any other text. Absolutely. What do you mean, Dustin? Huh? Watch this. This should help you out a lot. Okay? If you pay attention to the Hebrew words being used here, it's two different words being used here also, even in the original translation. It says, Leviathan Nachash Bariak, okay? And then there's Leviathan. See, there's one that's spelled Leviathan with an L first, okay? Leviathan Nachash Bariak, okay? I don't know if I'm saying it correct. And then there's Leviathan, which is a male and a female. Nashash Aqualathan, which means, and even the twisted, crooked Leviathan. Two different things mentioned there. Two different things mentioned there. And I bring that up because of this. Where is it at? I know I have another text here saved. Yes. So let's look. Even the Talmud makes a distinction between the two. Watch this. Bavali, Bava, Batra, 74b, which is written in the Talmud. It just is what it is. I'm going to show you that even this documents two different ones, okay? All that the Holy One, blessed be He, created in His world, He created a male and a female, even Leviathan, the slant serpent, and Leviathan, the torturous serpent. He created male and female, and had they mated, they would have destroyed the whole world. That's why He had to separate even them. I hope you heard that. That's exactly what I was telling you guys. All right? He castrated the male and slew the female, preserving it in the salt for righteous in the world to come. That's why it's preserved in the salt water. I love this stuff. All right? Now, you can't make it up. Okay? And that's what it also says right here in 74b. It says, and he will slay the serpent that is in the sea, and Behemoth upon the 1,000 hills. Fascinating. He castrated the male and cooled the female. Well, when you put something at the bottom of the ocean, you absolutely cool it, and preserved it for the righteous for the future. You can't deny these things now. There's a male and female Leviathan, okay? There's a behemoth, also a dragon of the land, a serpent in the sea, and a serpent, also two serpents of the sea, okay? Now, here's this. Let's go on even further. Where are they? Well, Leviathan, the female, is an obvious one. She is literally in the bottom of South America, sitting there cooled, as it says in the Talmud, at the bottom of the ocean, or preserved in salt, as it says there, or preserved until the day of judgment, as your word says in your Bible, word for word. All the things. Okay? Now, let's look at some descriptions of what a Leviathan looks like. Okay? Do you know why Job was able to describe the male Leviathan because the male Leviathan had not been put in preservation. The male Leviathan was loosed, okay? The female was held back. That's why Job writes about seeing the male Leviathan. The female Leviathan had been preserved. It's so simple when you read all these things, okay? I know, Melissa, it's one of the best feelings in the world to actually understand these things. It's really cool, okay? So, canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaws through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the complaints be made a banquet for him? This is Yahuwah's form of humor. Okay, he's pretty much being sarcastic with Job here. So I can hear in the background Job's like, didn't like, ha ha ha, I get it, okay, I'm dumb, you're eternally smart, I'm just a man, okay, in his own humble way. It is what it is. Okay, so this is our Father's sense of humor right here with Job. He's like, wilt thou play with him like he's a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for his maiden? Shall the companions make a banquet for him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst they fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with a fish spear? Lay thine hand upon him, and remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? That's why men's hearts are going to eventually fail them with fear, due to the things that are coming out upon the earth for them. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me, that I should repay him? What's fascinating about this is this. That's one of my hydration drinks I drink, by the way, that I've been telling you guys about. I'm detoxing here on camera. What's fascinating about this is this. If you guys love this type of stuff, by the way, I've got loads of lunch boxes full of banana sandwiches packed full of this type of information on Behemoth and Leviathan, Godzilla, and Ghidorah. Okay? Because even in Godzilla culture, there's Ghidorah, the queen of dragons, who rises up from Antarctica. They thaw her out in the ice. She comes out of the ice of Antarctica, and she calls up all her children from the earth to bring judgment on the land. Okay? Even in that. All right? And she has multiple heads, exactly as the word says too. Okay? So, what's nuts is this, okay? This description that I'm about to give to you should actually help you understand even more this thing. Okay? I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can come the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as if there was a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together, and they cannot be sundered. By his neesings, a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth is a burning lamp, lava, and sparks of fire leap out. Okay? Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, just like this. The Sandwich Islands and Drake's Passage, Dragon's Passage, those holes, those nose holes, each one is a volcano. Can't make it up. And indeed, they are stirring. Okay? So, I bring this up because of this, all right? In my Leviathan, Behemoth, Godzilla, Leviathan decodes, Okay? I pointed out a big portion of America's early history from the 1500s all the way up until, you got it, the early parts of the building of the Hoover Dam, that they had documented in the oceans of the East Coast especially sightings of this huge sea serpent. Remember, the male sea serpent was still loose on the earth. The female, she was still kept frozen in the ice. Okay? The male has been loose. This is why all the early maps pictured a big sea serpent in the ocean. Okay? And other things in the ocean. Well, in early America, there were so many sightings of this giant sea serpent on the East Coast, which is actually where Cape Fear, North Carolina, gets its name from, in Wilmington. That's also why Wilmington is named after Willie the Sea Serpent in North Carolina, because of the sea serpent sightings, and Cape Fear is the furthest point out in the ocean, by the way, in the Atlantic Ocean. It's the furthest point out in the Atlantic Ocean in the Central Americas. Okay, and it was named Cape Fear with that lighthouse because of all the sightings in early America of that sea serpent. Okay, but for some reason we're not seeing that stuff now, and for some reason the Bermuda Triangle is now quarantined as if they're keeping something there as well. Do the math. Almost like it's a big prison. Have you guys ever seen Hotel Transylvania, the newest one, where they go out to the Bermuda Triangle and that's where they keep the big Kraken creature? Yeah, that's where they keep it, prisoned. Bermuda Triangle, and also other movies, okay? So, there's that. But then there's this. During the same time, you have World War I and World War II come up right after, in which for some reason they bomb Pearl Harbor, killing civilians, radiation poisoning. They make Bikini Atoll Island where they start making big bombs, okay? And they call it the Proving Grounds. They also have the bloop that was discovered in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in which they had something happening out there where they discovered this big old creature, okay? Then there, Miss Yvonne, I encourage you to start with Godzilla -1, because that's going to tell the story of what I'm telling you right now. During Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you have this happen. I don't know how in the world people didn't put this together, okay? If you want to put it together, watch Godzilla -1. During the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you have one literally right on the coast in the water, killing thousands and thousands of civilians with a handful of soldiers. Then they literally, because they didn't stop it, it went in even further. They bombed it again, killing altogether hundreds of thousands of civilians altogether and only 30,000 troops. Okay, fun fact, in Godzilla -1, that's exactly the places where Godzilla emerged for the first time in a long time. Okay, and what happened is they bombed him twice in that movie, boom and boom, and it caused him to literally retreat back into the ocean where he lay dormant for a long time. Now, here's this. As they lay dormant, they sent these people out there and they put mine bombs. You ever wonder why they truly have those bombing mines all out in the ocean out there? Now you know, okay? But then there's this. They carpet bombed with hydrogen bombs, okay? 170 plus times in only a 1.5 year span. Just like in the movie. What this did was critically wound Godzilla. Okay, this is where I believe the United States of Babylon contained this creature, and they brought it into, if you look at Google Maps, you'll notice right off the coast of California, there's this huge entrance. It's like a huge rectangle underneath the ocean, as if it was a huge garage entrance door to a giant tunnel, where they drug the creature in off the coast of California and underground all the way to the Hoover Dam, where they already had a containment facility built for this giant creature, Godzilla. Well, wait, why is Little John timed out? What did she do? Anyway, I wasn't reading the stuff. I should have. But anyway, I want to get back into this, okay? Why does that matter? Well, guys, If Godzilla is the destroyer of the land and Leviathan is the destroyer of the sea, that would make him the destroyer from Transformers, Metatron, or Megatron. You know why? Because he ate a star and swallowed it. Just like Enoch ate the star, the vril of Satan, and swallowed it. Here's this though, okay? Here's this, okay? In the story of Transformers, you can't make this stuff up. You have Megatron, who falls to the earth. The government finally kills him in a desert area, and they take him to an underground facility, and they keep him imprisoned until he busts loose, busting the dam, and comes out to destroy the earth. Can you guess where that facility was? Beneath the Hoover Dam. Literally. And the president in that movie, he looks exactly like Donald John Trump. Well, his name's John in real life, central name. Can't make this stuff up. So, yeah, there's that. And then Metatron busts out the Hoover Dam, causing the flooding of Vegas and everywhere else down there. If you're in Vegas, I'd get out of Sin City. And then coming out to bring destruction on the earth. So, there's all that. Wowza, this stuff is crazy. But I'm gonna make this even more fascinating for you. I don't know how people don't put this stuff together. And I don't know how to take, there's only one person I can give it credit to, and that's the Father. Because he says in the end there'll be increase in knowledge and wisdom, and it'll blow people's minds. And now here it is. It's not just blowing your mind, folks. It's blowing my mind, some of this stuff. I'm like, man, this stuff has been right in front of us the whole time. How in the world did we not notice this? So check this out. Here's another one that's been in plain sight. All right, so if you know me, you know that I know my landscapes a lot, okay? Before the flood, those ancient pyramids you're seeing over in Gaza, okay? Those pyramids, there's less than 1,000 pyramids over there. There's more than 2,000 over here, okay? Because it's been a longer life over here after the flood than it was before the flood. So before the flood, there was less pyramids over there. The true Egypt story, okay, of the city of Enoch was a big worldwide kingdom before the breaking up of the earth. Before the earth broke apart, it was Pangea, then it was split into two parts, then split up again, okay? But check this out. Hadn't you guys paid attention also to what they've discovered beneath the pyramids of Giza? How it's like a big prison underneath there? Or it was a big prison underneath there? See, that was built by Cain, the master builder, whose house fell in on him. See, Cain gave birth to Enoch. But you know that if Cain was a beast with the vril of Satan, then therefore when he would have mate with a woman, he'd also give birth to a titan, according to the word of God. Okay. Enoch, fun fact, if you read 2nd Esdras, do you know what it names Godzilla? Who was called Metatron? Well, let's see what 2nd Esdras named Godzilla. I want to read it with you so you can see it. Well, I'm not even able to get my phone off, so it doesn't matter. You just have to look it up yourself. 2nd Esdras gives a name to Behemoth, the dragon. You ready? Remember, there was a good Enoch and a bad Enoch, and one Enoch was the son of Satan, who was son of Cain, who was of the devil. Nobody knows Mystery. Yeah, we know Mystery Babylon. Okay, indeed, we know Mystery Babylon here has been described to a T. Maybe catch up on some Mystery Babylon videos before you make that statement. Okay, but let's keep on going here. 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, 49 through 52. I'm not going to get distracted by comments today. I'm doing my best. Then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures, the one thou calledest Enoch, and the other Leviathan, and did separate them one from another. for the seventh part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Do you know why? And it says, unto Enoch thou gavest one part, which was dried up on the third day, that he should dwell in the same part. But what's really weird is this. In Nordic culture, Loki, son of the devil, the blue blood, okay? Loki gave birth to Jormungandr through, I don't remember the girl's name. Braden actually knows a lot of this stuff with me. We've studied in depth. Loki gives birth to Jormungandr, the sea serpent. So could it be Cain built that pyramid, those pyramids during that time, to contain his child Enoch, who also became a beast of the earth? Maybe. Maybe. Pretty fascinating to me. Pretty fascinating to me. If you don't believe me, read it for yourself. 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verses 49 through 52, part of the Apocrypha. Okay? I wanted to read that to you. Now, let's read some more. Okay? Okay, yeah, let's read 2nd Baruch right here, all right? This is pretty cool. 2nd Baruch. And it shall come to pass, when all is accomplished, that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall begin to be revealed again. And the Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, meaning he's going to come out of his prison. And Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. This is talking about the days of judgment, by the way, in 2nd Baruch. Let's read this again now that you know that. And it shall come to pass, when it is all accomplished, that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall begin to be revealed, okay? And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend. The queen of the south shall rise up at judgment, and Leviathan shall descend from the sea. Those two great monsters which I created on creation, and shall have kept until that time, the appointed time, and then shall they be food for all that are left. The earth also shall yield its fruit 10,000-fold, and on each vine there shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape a core of wine, etc., etc. Once again, a judgment takes place on the land. You have Behemoth rising from the land, and Leviathan rising from the sea. So there we go. Let's make sure I pretty much cover my ground with that stuff. Yes, sure did. Awesome. Now, I want to look at this one more time. Let's go back to that Colburn bronze book text that was written in the 1500 BC area. Okay? It says this, in this manner the first earth was destroyed by calamity descending from out of the skies. The vaults of heaven had opened to bring forth monsters more fearsome than any that ever haunted the uneasy dreams of man. So this even speaks on at the end, when the skies open up, talking about there being monsters rising up again during judgment. Pretty fascinating. So, let me make sure I've got a lot of everything. Oh, here we go. Now, I'm going to give you a big, long story about how Satan mimics the Most High. Okay? I'm going to give you, I want to see what Miss Kim said. This is why those sick people from KSC said. Yeah. Leviathan is a form of a chicken. See, chickens have scales. They're on the land, okay? And this is the whole thing. Chicken is clean. Tuna is called the chicken of the sea for a reason as well. Both of those taste like chicken because of this. When you're on the land, like the feathered plumed serpent, the dragon of the land, you have a different form of scale. Your scales are lightweight so you can fly. Your scales are made as feathers, okay? Just is what it is. When you're a creature of the sea, you have hardened scales, so you can take the pressure of the deep. Scales are also a form of feathers, okay? They both are the same type of meat that are clean because of this. Satan, a dragon, Satan was told he could consume us, the people of the earth, but then he tells us that we can eat the behemoth and Leviathan. That's why we're eating chicken and fish cleanly. Okay? That's also why, this is pretty fascinating, that's also why Raising Cane's is famous for their chicken. It is what it is. All right? Yeah, I see your comments, Miss Suzanne. You're good. Okay? So we can consume them and they can consume us. It's just how the Bible makes it. Okay? But I want to show you this. I'm going to show you how Satan mimics the Most High in every single thing around us, okay? And how he's told this story in every culture in the world as well. In the Hebrew Bible, which we have, there's Yahuwah and Michael, okay? What's up, George? I miss you too, man. I wish I still had my phone with everything in it, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to keep going. Look, listen to this, though. This will fascinate you guys, okay? If you guys are enjoying this, by the way, if you just want to hit the like button down below to get some more people in here on the algorithm, that'd be fantastic as I'm doing all this reading with you guys. That's all I ask. But let's keep on going here. This should fascinate you. Let's watch how Satan mimics the Most High and the Word. In the Hebrew Bible, you have Yahuwah and Michael, who slay Leviathan, which is Tiamat. Tiamat, by the way, is a female. That's where the word Tia comes from, auntie. Okay, Tiamat, Leviathan, and Rahab, Ra, and the serpent of the sea. Okay, so that's the Hebrew Bible. That's our Bible, where you have literally a god slaying a Leviathan, a Rahab, and a sea serpent, which is the sea dragon and the chaos serpent. Okay, and they're both slain at the end of the world. But then in Mesopotamian Babylonian culture, you have Marduk, who slays Tiamat, which is the primordial sea goddess dragon at the end of the world. Then in Mesopotamian culture again, you have Ninurta, who comes and slays Anzu, which is not just a sea dragon, but also turns into a bird demon, who is slain at the end of the world. Then we have the Ugaritic tales, which is the Babylonian tales as well, in which you have Bel slay Lotan, which is another form of Leviathan, which is a seven-headed sea serpent, who is slain at the end of that age. Then in Egyptian culture, you have Ra and Set and Horus, who slay Apep, which is Apophis, who's the chaos serpent of the world, which is when chaos was over the face of the deep at the end of the world. In Greek culture, you have Apollo, who slays Python, the earth serpent guarding Delphi at the end of the world. In Greek culture again, you have Zeus, who slays Typhoon, which is the multi-headed chaos giant serpent, who's slain at the end of the world. In Greek culture again, you have Hercules, who slays Hydra, the multi-headed sea serpent at the end of the world. In Norse mythology, you have Thor, who slays Jormungandr, the Midgard earth snake at the end of the world during Ragnarok. In Norse again, you have Odin come back at a different age, who doesn't just slay the serpent of the sea, but also slays Fenrir, Anubis, Elon Musk, okay? The big earth dog at the end of the world. Then in Hindu, you have Indra, who slays Vrayatra, which is the serpent blocking the many rivers. Then in Hindu again, you have Krishna, who slays Kailaya, which is a multi-headed sea serpent at the end of the world. In Chinese, you have Yu the Great, who slays Gong Gong, the flood-causing chaos god of the deep at the end of the world. In Chinese culture again, you have Nessa, who slays Ao Gong, the dragon king of the sea, at the end of the world. In Polynesian culture, you have Maui, who slays the giant eel tuna, which is the water monster at the end of the world. In Christian legend, like we know about, you have Saint Michael, who slays the dragon of the sea, the chaos dragon, at the end of the world. In Greek mythology, to finish again, you have Perseus, who slays Cetus, the sea monster, at the end of the world. And yet people think Leviathan is just a figure of speech. People are like, oh, it's just a coincidence that that thing looks like a giant serpent down there at the bottom of South America. Okay, I bet it does. Remember, the Bible told you it's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new can happen under the sun, is what Solomon teaches. That's a lot of stories out there talking about this. Exactly, every culture knows. I think that's the Father's way of telling everybody what's to come, so they're without excuse. He prepares everyone for what's to come. Pretty cool. So, there's that. Just thought you guys would enjoy that. Sweet. I make sure I got all my scriptures read for you guys tonight. All right, so we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 passages tonight. I don't know how many different stories of culture. And then we covered where Behemoth is and where Leviathan is and why they're there and how they got there. And that there's multiple Leviathans. There's a male and female Leviathan. Okay. And, oh, here's another one I can do for you real quick. Let me pull up my Bible app back up again. Bible. All right. Let's go over here to Revelation. Okay. Chapter 20. Here's something fascinating. And he laid hold on the dragon. This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So, please know this. In this passage here, Satan is identified as a serpent, a devil, which is a spirit, Satan himself, all together. A dragon, a serpent, a devil, and Satan. He's named 4 different things. Keep that in mind too. All right? Awesome. Okay, so now that I've got all that out there for you, I think I'm going to cut this video short at 1 hour and 3 minutes. No. Yeah. Sweet. That way a lot of people can learn in a quicker manner than 3-hour-long videos for once. Because I got everything kind of oh, I know what I can do for about 15 minutes. To the best of my ability. Because I said I would. I've got a little treat for you guys, 100 and some of you that are listening right now. Okay? I'm not going to be able to answer everything. Okay? However, if I see a question I can answer in a quick manner, I will. What I'm going to do is give you guys a little bit of time to post a couple of questions down there. All right? And I will do a quick little Q&A for you guys here at this little bit of time we have. I'm only going to go forward for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes, if that, because I really probably should spend some time with my family tonight as well. Being I've been out here for so many hours and hours and hours, not to mention during the day, gathering all information and passages and readings with you guys and for you guys during the day, and posting on Facebook and commenting back on people. By the way, there are people that have my messenger and people that have my old phone number, which I don't even have anymore, okay? I want you to know, it is impossible for me to message every single one of you back, like physically impossible. If I did that, how in the world could I make videos and assemble information and comment back to every comment and delete and what is that word? Moderate. How can I moderate my own Facebook page, and how can I respond back in comments, and how can I create videos, and how can I assemble data and still have a life with my family? If you guys are always expecting me to drop everything immediately and talk to every single one of you when I'm making these videos to talk to you guys. On my Facebook page alone, there's going on now 35,000 of you guys. 35,000. Have you guys ever tried to conversate with 35,000 people at the same time? And then y'all get so mad at me. You're like, I tried to message you and you didn't message back. I don't even get on my messenger. Me and my wife share a phone with that stuff. Okay? It is what it is. It doesn't mean I love you any more or any less. It just is what it is. It's physically impossible. Okay? So there's that. Please don't take offense to it. My friend George up here will tell you too. I think George has been up here longer than any man, any guy I've had on this page, like since the beginning, as far as like somebody I've been really close to, even when I had just the tiniest little bit of people up here. All right. And yet, you know, he was still, he knows. Okay. I went months without calling him back or talking to him too, and I felt so bad, but it's like I said, y'all are just one of a few people. I can't help it. All right? It's hard. That's why I do my best to respond back in comments. Most of my time is spent filtering out my Facebook page, man. I blocked so many people. By the time I block them all, I've got more of the same amount of people coming back in that I have to sort through again as well. Here's what it is. So, there's that. Let me see if you guys have posted any questions yet. I don't understand. Oh yeah, Miss Kim. Me neither. Do you think activated will rage all at once? Yes. All right. If you're Angela, I'll start with yours because it's the first one I see. If you're referring to what I was talking about with the zombie apocalypse stuff, with those who got the and also those who have been buried over time all the way back in Egypt culture that are also had in their blood mixed and stuff like that, if that's what you're referring to, yes, I believe that due to this earth tilt stuff and this other sun stuff and the events that are coming and being sprayed in the air, I believe when these frequency towers go off, and they're new, I believe 6G is key, being 6 is the evil number, okay? I believe that when 6G fully hits, which it hasn't, I believe when 6G hits, I think we're going to see a lot of that crazy mess happening at once, all over. And it's going to be horrible. So yeah, there's that. I think all of it will be really bad, including people that are alive, because it says they will be standing upon their feet, their eye sockets ate out, their flesh consumed off of their face, and they shall still be up and walking, seeking after death and not finding it, etc. Because death gives up its dead, Hades gives up its dead, the sea gives up its dead. Well, Leviathan was punished and kept dead in the sea to be brought back to life at the end, preserved, all that stuff. Okay. Yeah, I'm only one man, believe it or not. All right. Right, 88, absolutely. Let's see what else we got. This is the final army. I do think this, though, a lot of people, I think one of my next decodes I'll get back into will be the terracotta army and how that terracotta army is actually going to play a big part in this reanimation stuff that's going to be taking place. Okay? Yeah, mummies and zombies. That's what they program you for a reason. All right. Let's see what else. We don't want to be here with the dead. Oh man, nobody else got any like questions I can touch on real quick? Yeah, my whole family's got the vaccine, Miss Kim. It tears my nerves up. My mom, my brothers, my grandmas, my aunts, my uncles, every one of them. Hey, Adam, I'm all for that one, okay? However, that's going to take a whole video. You are on my list. I saw your post on Facebook today. You're on my list because that's a very big topic that we can actually touch into. But that'll be a whole nother video, not a couple of minutes. Please know that you are on my list. I started kind of with things I knew a whole lot about, That is one of those I know a lot about, not to touch on in a couple minutes. Okay, I will be glad to throw that in there. Actually, you know, that's actually one of those that I can tie into this terracotta army stuff, because that's one of those things where it's had hidden sleeper stuff going on, like being kept and held, you know, for right now and everything. That's actually can fall right into one of my next videos. Sweet. Let me see. Hey, Matthew, Phoenix Matthew. Think about draining the lake now that we know what's under the Hoover Dam, and also what's been happening to dams all over the place in the last year. Draining the swamp monster, the cryptid. Okay, so there's all that for you. I just leave that one there for you. Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead and The Walkers. That is a whole decode in itself too that I've been wanting to do with you guys. However, I have to get my computer set up, not this little laptop. I have my old setup where I had everything before. That's gonna be one of those where I have to show you in person, kind of all that stuff. Let's see what we got here. It keeps refreshing down to the bottom, so I'm gonna keep trying to have to swap back up. Okay, Kelly, that's a good one I can touch on. What do I think about the spacecraft coming in November? Okay. I believe, okay, what's taking place with that is what I was telling you guys. It's one of the big opening scenes to the big catastrophes that are going to be opening up in December that'll lead to them feeling like they have to do the red heifer sacrifice when chaos is released from the heavens onto the earth, okay? And I also believe this may sound crazy to you guys because y'all don't watch movies and stuff to decode like I do, all right? Have you guys ever seen the cartoon movie Home? About the little purple alien guy, okay? And how they don't have families and stuff like that. They don't have moms and dads. And they came from a planet. They literally came from behind the moon, if you want to be specific. They came from the dark side of the moon, from around the moon onto the earth in that movie, okay? And what else happened there was this. When they came to the earth, they hid themselves on the earth to run from the destroyer that was coming after them. Then the destroyer comes down from the heavens after them and starts destroying the earth. But what happens when those boov first come onto the earth is they start sucking people up into the heavens. Everybody's waiting on a false rapture. Start sucking people up to the heavens and relocate them to another land, which I believe in that show was like Australia. Just crazy. All right? That's what took place there. And then those people took over the land until the destroyer came, which was a starfish, okay, to destroy the earth. That was in that cartoon kids movie. That's just step one. I believe what's going to happen is, A, you're going to have this alien invasion combined with Project Bluebeam and a false rapture scenario taking place, which is not going to be a good thing. We know the tares are snatched up first anyway, and then the wheat are gathered. Keep that in mind before you go chasing some UFO craft saying, "Take me up, Scott. Beam me up, Scotty." Don't say beam me up, Scotty, okay? You don't want to be beamed up by Scotty, okay? This event could also be triggered into why they must activate this 6G, okay? Meteor showers are meat eater showers, okay? What they are is what it has been for a while, ever since this new world, okay? Especially the Leonoids, where they had the biggest meteor shower in history, where the stars fell. It was like 100,000 or 200,000 every hour or something like that. It was a ridiculous amount of number for 3 days straight, which added up to, with my math, to be about 33 million stars fell in 3 days, and it caused people to die out of fear. And that was in 1833, November 18th, 19th, and 20th, or either the 12th, 13th, or 14th of 1833. That same meat eater shower happens every 33 years. What that is 1/3 of the stars getting snatched down from the heavens by the tail of Satan and his tale, his story, his fib. Okay? So, let's keep on going. Blue orbs. All orbs, like I said, are what you see in the Bible, the wheels within wheels of light. All right. Let's see. Wormwood is already taking place, Miss Kim. Like I say, Wormwood event and the Titans being released were all tied into the April 8th eclipse, okay, which made the way for King of Babylon, the right and left wings of the eagle, Apollo and Hermes, the destroyers, the perditioned ones that came for 3.5 years. They all took place in the same year. That's why the tombs of St. Peter, James, and John and Mary were opened, okay, during the St. Peter's Basilica year of Jubilees ceremony that took place this past year as well. Like I say, I believe we've already began our 3.5 years, okay, and we're already approaching the 1.5 year mark when things get nuts, okay. I just want to say that if you want my big long-term viewpoint, all right, I don't think we have longer than 2030 at all. Okay, why does the elites and stuff put that stuff in plain sight? Because that's part of the Kabbalah. They tell you the things which are to come, so will be without excuse when they happen. That's just the Father's way of doing things. He says in these days he'll be giving us signs. We're that wicked and adulterous generation that's seeking after signs. That's us. Me neither, Kim. Miss Kim, I think things are really heating up. And I think that the closer we get to the very, very end, the littler the remnant's going to be. So there's that. Let's see what else. If you or anybody else notice a lot less chemtrails. Yes and no about the chemtrails, Chad. It all really depends on the day of the week and what events are taking place in the world, really, I've noticed. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's all I got for you guys. Mad Pax, I met your wife today on Facebook, and it's cool to see you guys are a team that's digging for truth together. All right? It's really cool. You are a hand and a foot. Y'all's relationship is, it seems, so keep it up. Yeah, there's earthquakes are going to keep increasing, but what I've been trying to tell you guys, earthquakes are called birth pains because the earth is in fact giving birth, now you know, to titans of the old. Yeah, so anyway, I don't want to get into too much more right now because I'm past my time. Anyway, I'm going to get off of here. I have truly enjoyed my time with you guys tonight. Man, it was a fun one. Like I say, this is one of my favorite topics. So that 24-hour sun, if you're talking about what that guy did with the camera, that was all green screen. You can see the sun expand and contract where they had to change the cameras in that video, if that's what you're referring to, that video that was released a while back, okay? You got the world wondered after that stuff. Absolutely fake. Anyway, I can't keep getting distracted. My family's sitting right there waiting on me. Anyway, I'm going to try and do another live stream tomorrow night for you guys. We can get another one together. I'm probably going to jump on Adam's topic he was bringing up there earlier. And I may do a movie decode with you guys tomorrow night just because it's been a long time. Boy, do I miss doing those. I'm going to see if I can get my my setup back going inside. I think the service seems to be going okay. Were you guys able to hear and see everything good tonight on your end? I hope so. It seemed like I didn't have any disruption on my end this time. But if my service seems to be doing good with this, with what I have going, I should be able to set my computer up tomorrow and get a movie decode going with you guys and the introduction songs and stuff like that. Maybe I can get that stuff back going again. Sweet. Maybe we'll try and get that going tomorrow night. So you guys pray that I get everything assembled together in a timely manner and stuff like that, okay? I've got all kinds of movies I've been waiting to decode with you guys. I can't wait. That's like my favorite thing I do with you guys is movie decodes. And you know, that's what's funny and awesome is this, okay? No, I'm not gonna do the Cranberries song this time. Everybody knows what song I'm gonna do. That's like my new theme song. Anyway, A.V. Kaplan. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is do a movie decode with you guys, and we'll unpack all that stuff. Well, yeah, what I was about to say is this. As a kid growing up, okay, I don't know why I was so fascinated by movies. And like, it won't like, you know, some kids just put them on to have background noise and stuff. But me, I'd sit in front of those things and I'd watch a movie one time and I'd have it memorized. Like, it would freak my mom out, freak my brothers out and stuff. Like, we'd watch it again and I'd be like saying the same words that they were saying on the screen before they say them. And they'd be like, well, you just... Hotel Transylvania 3 is a good one. But anyway, I'd be saying, and I'd watch every movie you can imagine, like all the time. It didn't matter what it was, and TV shows, everything. Like, I'd go to my grandma's house and like I'd soak in the soap opera mess, the As the World Turns, The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, Guiding Light, Mama's Family, Three's Company, A Little House on the Prairie, all that stuff in my grandma's house. And then with my mom was a whole different can of worms I'd be going through and stuff like that. But then I'd have my own stuff. I always wondered why I was so fascinated by that stuff and why I absorbed so much of it. But see, the Father takes what the enemy means for evil in this world, and he uses it in these days. And I'm able to literally relate so much of the Bible to so many things that I've seen on TV that it blows even my mind. It's fascinating to me, which I believe, as Melissa was talking about, people are given different gifts. I think that's one of my gifts is he's allowed me to go through and see things like I did in my past for these moments right here in the future, which is really cool. Because even like in school, I hated history class. Like, with a passion, I hated history class. Geography, geology, all the science classes, I hated all that stuff. And yet here I am, I can quote dates from like a long time ago. Like, and not just that, I can add up the numbers of certain dates and times and locations and things like that now. Like, I was like, man, where was all this at in high school and stuff? But the Father prepared me for these moments right here, and it's been pretty fascinating to see him use someone like me. He can use you too. But maybe that'll inspire some of you guys to just use your gifts. People have different gifts, okay? And your gift don't have to look like this. It can look like something else. All right? All right, sweet. Y'all got me thinking about what movie I'm going to do tomorrow night. I'll let you guys know tomorrow. I'm not going to decide right now. Hope you guys have a good night and or day wherever you are in the world today. And I'm going to close in prayer as I have been doing here lately, because it's been pretty awesome. And I want to give him thanks for the time we spent together and for you guys. All right. Yeah, the new Fantastic Four is a good one. That's on I've got so many I want to decode with you guys. I've already watched and just want you guys to see too. But anyway, let's pray together. Like I say, y'all don't have to sit quietly and let me pray. When I say let's pray, I mean literally. Pray where you are today. If you're laying in your bed with your phone, pray. If you're sitting in the bathroom on the toilet, it doesn't matter, pray, okay? If you're sitting on a bus, pray. It doesn't matter if people hear you, okay? Don't do it for them to hear you, but pray, all right? Anyway, let's pray together right now. Wherever you are in the world today, join me in prayer. Father, wow, what a whole different change of scene tonight was. I thank you for taking some of the tension and some of the things we've talked about lately that have been kind of intense, Father. That cause some worry in our life, causes some fear in our life, causes some sort of conviction in our life, in a sense that, Father, is kind of hard to deal with at times. Father, to be able to talk tonight with a smile on my face and joy with these people on topics such as this has been a blessing. I thank you so much for this wonderful day that we've had, wherever we are in the world today, good or bad. I think it's been great. Also, Father, I want to thank you for the ones that took the time to listen tonight. I pray that everything was presented in a way that's only directed at you, and you get all the glory for this. I pray that every word that has come out of my mouth, Father, has been something from you. Father, and in their ears, I pray that you filter out the things that the enemy tries to distract with, and discouraged with, Father. And I pray that you only filter in the things that you want them to hear and that they can use in I guess I had an earthquake here for a second. Sorry about that. Maybe that was him. Father, thank you. The world right now is so dark and chaotic, but we have times like this where you show us the importance of fellowship, and you show us the importance of kindness and love and compassion, and most importantly, listening. Thank you. Father, I pray that you're with us in the coming days. Let only your will be done in our life. Let us stand up to those around us, Father, who are of the devil, and let us speak in a way in which they cannot refute, so they too may be drawn to repentance. And Father, I pray that through repentance they may also find salvation that was given to us through your Son. Father, we thank you so much for Yahushua, who came and died for us so we may have a restored relationship with you, who sits at your right hand as our representative, Father. You know, your word tells us, as I say many times, Father, because it brings me great comfort, your word says that anything we ask of you through your Son and in his name, that you will allow these things to be, whether it be yes or no. We need to know those are answers. So, Father, we ask all these things through your Son's precious, holy, and mighty name, Yahushua, to be done in our lives today. Amen. All right, I'm going to jump off of here. If you guys want to, smash, smack, headbutt, nosebutt, whatever you want to do, that like button down below on your way out. Hit the notification bell and subscribe button. And until the next time, I will see you later. Have a good night and or day wherever you are in the world today. I love you guys so much. Goodbye from beyond the veil.